Hey everybody, it's Rami Marks, your Tangled Yogi out here in Northern California, and today we're going to be doing this really fun mandala that I did a couple of weeks ago with my students at Riley Street Art Supply in San Rafael. And so what you're going to need for class is you're going to need to have a white 5-inch circular tile, and then you will need a 6-inch circular tile in gray. I've been using cardstock for these and they're wonderful. So you can see that I have a nice white circle, and then I have my gray circle that I'm going to put underneath it. The next things that you are going to need are your Micron PN pen. You're going to need your Signo Uniball pen. You will also need to have your handy dandy pencil with no eraser because there are no mistakes in Zentangle, and I'm talking to you. And then finally, we're going to be using a couple of tools for this one because mandalas do require a little bit of help. So I've got a really nice see-through ruler here that helps me out a lot. And then for circle making, I'm going to have my little circle maker here. Okay, so gather all those things together and let's get started. So let's take a moment to get ourselves centered so that we're ready to begin tangling our beautiful mandala here. So let's take a comfortable seated position, however that works for you inside of your body today, and sit back into your chair. Let your hands rest comfortably in your lap, preferably with the palms facing up. And take a moment to let your shoulders melt down away from your ears. Feel your feet making connection with the floor here. Allow the eyes to close and take a moment to just drop into your breath. Noticing the breath as it rolls in and noticing the breath as it rolls out. Noticing the inhalation and the exhalation. And let's begin to work with the breath here. Breathing into the count of 4, holding the breath into the count of 4, and exhaling to the count of 8. Inhaling for 4, hold the breath in for 4, exhaling to the count of 8. Inhaling for 4, pausing and holding the breath in for 4, exhaling and to the count of 8. Let your breath return to its natural pace here, and notice if there's a little bit more fullness to your breath. Softening in the shoulders, relaxing in the chest, letting go through the belly and the hips, feeling the thighs at ease, calves are relaxed, feet are making connection to the floor, following the breath in and following the breath out. And let's take one more deep breath right here. Inhaling nice and full. Let it go with a sigh. Ha. And then when you feel ready, wiggling in your fingertips, wiggling in your toes, gently blinking your eyes open. And let's go ahead and start to tangle. Okay, so we're going to get ourselves started here. I'm going to take away our beautiful mandala and I'm going to replace it with the little mandala that I have. Now you can see that my mandala is a little bit chipped. I gave away all of my tiles and this is the only one I had left, so we are going to have to make do with what we have here today. So as you can see, I have divided my mandala or my circle in half there. So you're just looking for the halfway point on each side and going ahead and using that as your division point. That's our string for our tile. The next thing that I'm going to be grabbing here is I'm going to be grabbing my little circle maker, and as you can see, I've got my little circle maker and I'm going to line it up as best I can with all of my lines, trying to find the center here. And I'm doing a circle that's 2¼ inches inside of this 5-inch circle that I have. And what I'm going to do is I'll take my little pencil and I will go around the inside, and voila, we have our first circle that we will be working with. Now, to be building the string, I want to talk about that just for a little bit. There is some math involved with this little guy here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and I'm going to come to the very top of my circle here, and you can see that I am looking for my 1¼ inch spot. So you can see that here is where the measurement begins. And I'm just going to make this nice and clear. So you can see here is where the measurement begins, and there's my quarter mark right there. So I'm just going to make 2 dots, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to line it up so that I have it just so. This makes it so that it's much easier for us to make our little flex flower, or oh, it's not our flex flower, it's actually a Bales flower. Sorry about that. So you can see that I've got now those 4 dots that I just did, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of my ruler now, and I'm just very lightly with my pencil going to connect my lines. Now, I know that some of you are going to be like, nope, I'm going to use my ruler and that's what I'm going to do. That's fine. You can go ahead and use your ruler. I just like to freehand it as soon as I possibly can because I just don't like using a lot of tools when I'm working. Okay, so there you have it. There's our string and there's the explanation for it. And so now all you have to do is just catch up to me. So if you want to pause me here, this is a great spot. Okay, so I'm going to use just a little bit more of the ruler with you, just because I know that it might make it a little bit more clear for people to follow. So you can see that I'm lining up my ruler right up to the inside of where our string is, and you can see that I'm matching up the inside to where the one starts to measure out. So you can see that there's my line right there. I'm going to come to the halfway mark and I'm just going to make a little dot. Now you'll notice I'm at the halfway mark on my piece here, so you could potentially just go around just like so and make a mark right at your halfway mark and you'd be just fine. Okay, but if you really feel comfortable using the ruler, I'm going to give you that one. All right, so now once I've got those, I'm going to blow this up. Now if you need to pause me for a minute, you can go ahead and pause me, otherwise I'm just going to keep on rolling. So I'm going to grab my pen now and I'm just going to fly. So here we go. No more pencils for me. So I'm just going to start with my X first because I think that that's going to be a lot better for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and, oh, you can see that my pen is out of ink. I should have tested that before we started, but like all good teachers, I do come prepared. So here we go. I've got my pen right here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do Bales just like so. So you can see that I'm right there, and I'm just going to go right over to this guy right here where I've marked. Now you'll notice I'm just working on those diagonal lines here. I'm going to turn my tile to make it easy for my hand. Here I go. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Now I'm going to put it back to the X here because I really want you to see what I'm up to. You can see that it's narrower right in here and right in here, but I've got a wider space right in here and right in here. That's going to be the space in which I work in. So I'm going to turn my tile to where that widest space is, just right there, and I'm going to come out about halfway. I'll make my little drop dots like I always do. I'm right at halfway, and I'm just going to come in and make my bales. It's pretty close. It's a little bit off, but I'm okay with that, and I hope you will be too. Okay? So go ahead and make your lines, do it the best way that you can, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're back. I'm going to turn my tile now so that you can see there's my X, and there's the petals that are running through it here. Okay? So now we're going to start to work in these spaces all around the piece here. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to connect. And what I'll do is I'll come down from this center point right here. Let me make this nice and big for you. So I'm going to come down right from the centerpiece, and I'm going to come all the way out to the very, very edge. And I'm just going to make a dot. Now watch, I've got this point here and this point here that I want to connect. So all I'm going to do is I'm coming from the two petals and I'm connecting, just like so. So I'm going to go again now. I'll turn my tile, coming down from the center, find the middle point right about there. And once again, I'm coming out from the petal here, and I'm going to come and connect. I'll come to this point right here on the petal, and I'll connect. Turning my tile here, looking for that center point, dropping down, making the dot, connect, and connect. Turning my tile, looking for the center point, dropping down, coming all the way down, looking for my petal. Here's petal 1, and here's petal 2. Just like so. Turning my tile, coming down from the center here. I'm looking for that central spot, turning and getting in there with that petal 1 and 2. And I'll turn one more time right here, coming down from that central point, make the dot, last one right here, 1 and 2. So you can see now we've got this really beautiful star, and if you need to pause me, this is a great place to pause me. See you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe and relax. Okay, so we're back, and let's go ahead and continue on here. So here I have my beautiful star, and we're going to start to build out now. So I'm going to start by making my leaves here. Some of you may have seen a really beautiful tangle called H2O Lily. It's one of my favorites, and this is kind of the inspiration for H2O Lily. So here we go. So you can just see that all I did was I went to the outside of those pieces. So here I go again. I'm going to turn. I've got my V, and I'm just coming from this point right here and this point right here. So there's the beginning of H2O Lily. Turning my tile. Let's get this nice and close for you so you can really see it. Right in there. 1 and 2. So we're always looking for our V when we're doing this here. And here we are. 1 and 2. And then once again, turning. 1 and 2. Last one right here. 1 and 2. So there you have it. It almost looks like, I think it's like the star of life, the circle of life. I'm not exactly sure. There's a sacred geometry term for this, but I am not aware of it. My teacher, Paula Egan, she would know about it, but I'm not aware. I need to go look that up. All right, so if you need to pause me right here, this is a great place to do it. Otherwise, we're going to keep on rolling. Okay, so you can see I've had a chance to go all the way around and finish up the star here. And now we're going to go ahead and start to work inside of our little diamonds here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make an arc. And what that's going to look like is this. You can see that there's this gathering place in the sides of the diamonds. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start right here below the gathering place. And I'm just going to make a little flower top, just like so. Can you see how I did that? So I'm just in those little gathering points right over here. And then the last part of what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at the bottom and I'm going to make a flux that is very narrow right inside, just like so. Let's do that again together, shall we? Okay, here we go. We're looking for those gathering places. So just below the gathering spot, I'm going to go right here. I'm going to come up, I'm going to make an arc, and that's it. Now, if you've ever done Enzeppel, this kind of has an Enzeppel move to it. Because you're kind of smoothing out those pointed spots, almost like you're putting an arc in each of those areas where there's a point, right? Now I'm going to come up from the bottom, make a flex, and drop back down. I'll do one more right here with you. Here we go. We're going to come right in where the gathering spot is, round it off. Here I go again, and here I go again. You can see I kind of lost my line there. That's okay. And then I'll come down from the bottom here and make my flex nice and narrow, dropping right back in. Go around and finish these last 3, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can see that I've had a chance to go all the way around there, and now we're going to start to work inside of the H2O lily. So you can see that I have the flux right here, and then I've got my leaves that are on the outside here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this arced area in here, and I'm going to aura that leaf line. Let me make this nice and big so you can really see it here. So there's my leaf line right there. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to aura that leaf line all the way up, and I'll go over to the other side and I'll do the exact same thing. So all I'm doing is auraing up, just like that. So I'll come around and turn my tile here, looking for my leaf line, auraing up the best way that you can, and then I'll come to the other side and I'll do the other side, just like so. And it really gives it kind of a nice Art Deco appeal, I think. So all I'm doing is I'm going around now and auraing inside of my arc here. So you want to make sure that you're staying inside your arc. One of the things that people tend to make a mistake about is they aura on the outside, and it's no big deal because you can just puddle that in later, but we want to puddle inside the arc itself. Okay, one last time together, and then you're going to go around and do yours here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm doing the same thing right here. Ta-da! Go ahead and finish those last 2, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can see that I've had a chance to go all the way around. You know, I was listening back to the last segment, and I said the M word. I said mistake. And there's no mistakes in Zentangle, so if you had an oopsortunity, which is something that kind of went sideways, you always have the opportunity to play with it and do something different. So if you got out into the corners here, we're going to puddle those in right now, and it won't even matter. So go ahead and grab a puddle pen. If you want to use your Micron PN, that's fine. I have a really nice brush pen that I like to use. This is the Koi brush pen. There's also the Tombow brush pens, so if you are a student of mine at Riley Street, you know you've seen these before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into these areas around the blank petals in the middle here, and I'm just going to start to puddle in those areas just like so. You can see that I'm just filling in all around that really nice Art Deco piece that we did in the center here. So I'm just going in and filling that, and then I'll turn my tile and I'll go to the next guy. So I'm just puddling. Puddling means laying down ink inside. I often hear people say, what does puddling mean? Puddling means exactly what it sounds like, putting down a puddle of black. And I'm just turning my tile, getting in there, cleaning it up, going over here, and going over here as well. I'll go all the way around. You go ahead and do it too, and I'll meet you in a minute. Remember, put a little smile in the curves of your mouth to enjoy what you're doing. Remember to breathe and relax your shoulders away from your ears. I'll see you soon. Okay, so you can see that I've had a chance to puddle all the way around. And now I want to talk about these spaces that are in between the leaves here. If you know me, you know that tipple is my favorite tangle. So we are going to add a tipple in here. And you can see that I'm blowing this up nice and big so that you can see here's the outer edge of my circle. You can see that line is very faint, but it is there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add my tipple, and I'm just going to touch that outside line, and there is my tipple. I'm going to turn my tile. I'll come in. I'll make it so that my tipple is touching all of the sides there, and I'm just turning, and you can see that my tipple aren't perfect, and I'm okay with that. And it really doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. It's just about having fun and enjoying ourselves, right? So all I'm doing is I'm just turning my tile and letting that tipple hit all of the leaves, coming in, letting it hit. Here's the last one right here, just like so. Now, once you've gotten all your tipple in, you're going to go ahead and you're going to puddle. Now, if you feel uncomfortable puddling without the outside edge created, I'm going to start in this corner right here because I'm left-handed, so it makes it easier for me. So I'm just going to come in right here and I'm just going to connect those two corners like so. And it almost looks like you're making like an eye. I'm just turning and connecting those corners so that now my circle is going to be a lot more deliberate. Here I am right here. Notice that I'm turning my tile. Last one right here, connecting. And there you have it. So go ahead and pause me here, catch up, and then we'll talk about puddling in a minute. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to smile a little. This is a lot of fun. Okay, so here we are, and I'm going to go in now and I'm going to start to puddle a little bit. Let me make this nice and big for you so you can see it. So here I am, I'm down here in this corner right here, and I'm just grabbing my puddle pen and putting in the puddling ink so that now I get a nice full puddle of ink in that corner there. So I'm just going to go around to each of these and puddle around my tipple. Now, Pamela, I'm thinking about you here. Pamela is one of my students over at Riley Street, and sometimes she says to me, "This stresses me out to puddle." So here's where I want you to really focus on your breathing. I want you to put that smile on your face and just relax. Let the shoulders melt away from the ears and let yourself enjoy the nice paper that you're working on, the fun tangle that you're doing, and just let yourself be in the present moment. Let puddling not be a chore. Let it be a Zen thing. Let it be that thing that just gets you completely immersed into the present moment. Okay? So let's just finish up this one guy right here, and then you guys are going to go ahead and finish up the rest, and I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe and relax. Okay, so you can see that I've had a chance to go all the way around. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this second circle that you can see right here. That's the aura line around our first circle. So I'm just going to grab my little circle maker here. Now the first circle that we did was 2 1/4. And you can see that that lines up just right with the 2 1/4. Now I'm going to grab my 2 1/2 and I'm going to line it up the best way that I can with my lines here. You can see that I've got my line that divided here and here, and so those are all lined up with the horizontal division and the vertical division. And then I'll just come in with my pencil and go all the way around, and then I'll take it away. And then that way we know that we've got that nice aura around it. Now, I'm not going to fill that in with my pen. It's just going to be a space that will be around the circle itself. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the spaces that we have here that are already divided, and we're going to cut them in half as well. So I will go in to this area right here. You can see I've got these two spaces, these two lines. So I'm finding the middle, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make a line and divide it. I'll do the same thing down here. I've got these two lines right here. I'm looking for the space that's right in the middle, and I'll divide it. I'll come up here. I've got these two lines right here, and I'm looking for the middle, and I will go ahead and I'll divide there. And then finally, I've got this one right down here at the bottom, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'll divide it right there. So now I have all these spaces around the wheel for us to work in. Go ahead and go around, break up those spaces, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're going to begin to now start to make our points of reference of where we're going to connect with the mandala. So you can see that I'm in this space right here, and I'm coming down right from the middle here, and just before I hit the edge, I'm going to make a little dot. You can see there's probably about 1/4 of an inch space between me and the edge there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn and do the same thing in each one of these. So I'm just coming down from the middle and making a little dot inside each of those spaces. So you can see I'm just looking for the middle and making my dot, turning, coming down from the middle, making my dot, leaving that same length away from the edge because we really want it to line up pretty closely. You can see I'm still turning, coming down, just right there, turning, coming down, and I'm just adding them until I go all the way around. So you can see now that I've got dots in all of those places. And let's make sure that you can really see that. So you can see the dots are in there in all of those spots, yeah? So now that we have those dots, oh, and if you need to pause, this is a great place to pause. So take the time if you need to and pause. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on rolling here. So I've got my pen handy. I'm just making sure that this is the pen that's working here. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to connect the dots. So remember that nice quote that we got from Paul Klee, a line is a dot that went for a walk, and that's the same for us in Zentangle here. So you can see that I have these 2 points right here on each side of the of that little square that I'm working with. It's kind of like a square. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the letter V, and you can see that my V is slightly rounded, yeah. V is for victory, right? So I'm just going to turn my tile and I'm going to do it again. So I'll just come right in here, connect, and connect. Turning my tile, and once again, connect, and connect. Turning my tile, connect, and connect. Turning my tile, connect, and connect. Turning my tile, connect, and connect. Last part right here, coming up towards the end here, connect and connect, and there you have it. We have gone full circle, and there is the beginning of our star. Go ahead, finish up, and I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe and put a smile on your face. See you soon. Okay, so now we're going to build off of this here. So one of my favorite tangles is by Hani Nura, and it's called I Can Too, and I love it, and I've been using it in a lot of my pieces lately, but I've been doing a slight variation to it. So I'm just going to show you my variation of I Can Too. I'm going to blow this bad boy up there so that you can really see. So you can see that I'm right around this particular petal right here, yeah? All I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and out, so I'm just auraing the side of the petal here, and then I'm going to go 1 and 2, just like so. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up, auraing that little stem that I made, and then watch, I'm just coming around and diving in, and coming to the top and making that piece. I'll come over to the opposite side and do it again. So I'll come up and out. I'm auraing this line right here. All I'm doing is I'm coming out, and then ready, watch. I'm auraing, come up and out, then go in, and connect. Just like that. So we'll go together again. So I'm coming up and out. I make my two little vines or veins off the side of the leaf, and then I'm just going to come up and out, coming in, and connect to the top. And I can make this a little bit longer to let that feel a little bit more leaf-like. Here we go again, right here, coming out, make a vein, here we go, auraing, 1, 2, 3, connect. Let's do one last one together. Here we go. Coming out, 2 veins, auraing up, 1, 2, 3. There, I connected. Coming out here, 1, 2, coming up and out, and connecting. All right, so you know what to do. All you have to do is just finish this side here and you're ready to rock and roll. See you in a minute. Okay, so you can see that I've had a chance to go all the way around, and I love this mandala. It is one of my favorites that I've ever done, and recreating it just makes me so excited because I have a new opportunity to color it. I just love that. So we're going to start to work into these spaces right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really fun form of fescue that will make this look like a heart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in off the side here so you can see that we have this V-like shape right in here. And let's make that nice and big for you so that you can really see it. So I'm just going to come in 1/4 of the way down from the bottom of the V, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to make the shape of a heart just by putting in one fescue and then another fescue, just like so. You can see that, and then I'm just going to go ahead and I will puddle those guys in just like that. So I'll turn my tile, coming down 1/4 of the way, making a heart-like shape, add my little teardrop, doing another one right here. Whoop, that one's a little wonky, but that's okay. It's Zentangle, right? You get what you get. So here we go. 1/4 of the way down, make my little heart, get the little teardrop in there, come over here, whoop, and there it is. So you're going to go around to each one of your V's and do that, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can see I've had a chance to go all the way around, and I really love the way this is feeling. It's starting to get some really nice energy to it, yeah? So why don't we start to work down in here just a little bit more. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Get right in on that guy. So I'm going to work right in this petal right here. Let's see if I can make that even bigger. Woohoo! Oh, technology, isn't it amazing? So here we are, right in here. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a triangle, and that creates a diamond. Can you see that? So all I did was just made a little triangle that made the diamond. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cap that off with a little bit of an aura there. And then finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up right underneath my little fescue here, and just watch. I'm going to make a little arc, just like so, and then I'm going to make an arc and hit the wall, and then I'm going to make an arc and hit the wall, just like so. Now, once we get into that particular piece, we will start to add some stuff to it a little bit later on when we get to color, but let's do that again just one more time. So here I am, I'm coming in at the bottom, and I'm making a diamond, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it again. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my arc right underneath my two little fescue here, and then I'm going to make another arc and another arc, just like so. It almost looks like a cloud, if you will. We'll do it one last time together. Ready? So let's make our diamond, and then we're going to make our little aura, and then we'll do our arc, arc, and arc. So go around to all of your hearts and do that in all of your hearts, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here we are, and we're going to start to work now in between our leaves. Everybody see these guys right here? I'm going to make that nice and big so that you can see it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in between those two leaves there, and I'm going to make a little dot right in the center in between those two leaves. And then I'm going to line myself up with the crevices of the leaf. So you can see that top crevice right here. I'm going to make a little dot right there, and then I'll make a little dot right here, and hopefully that'll give me a nice V. So watch, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to add a little V there. I'll turn my tile. Here's my next leaf. I'm going to make my dot inside the leaf. I'm going to go right here where that crevice is right there, and right here where this crevice is, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to connect right in there. See how I'm just dropping right in? So I'm going to turn my tile. I'm going to do it all over again, making my little dot in between, coming up here and right up here. All I'm doing is I'm just going in and connecting. I'm being mindful to not hit the leaves here, turning, coming in, making a dot here, making a dot here, and once again coming back and in all the way around, turning my tile. Here I am making a dot right here, dot, oh, that's a little bit too far, dot right there, and here we go. Coming on in, once again, finding my spot, dropping in, one dot here, one dot there, dropping in, and dropping in. Coming around, almost there, almost full revolution there. And we'll just go right over here, and over here. And here we go. Last one right here, right in between, right there, dropping in and dropping in. So if you need to pause at this juncture and catch up with us, go ahead and do so. Remember to breathe, remember to relax. This is about having fun, so don't forget. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so we've got all those V's in there, and now we're going to do a little detail inside the V. So let's get that guy right up nice and close. So what we're going to do with this is the same thing that we did down here inside of our petal. We're just going to do it in reverse. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to make a little point. That's where I get my diamond. I'll go ahead and I will aura the diamond. And now watch, right up here at the top here, I'm going to go and make a half moon. And then I'm going to come off to the side and off to the side, just like so. Turning my tile, coming to the next one, make my diamond, aura the diamond, come up here, make my little arc, and then make another arc, and then make another arc. So it looks kind of like a puffy cloud flower kind of deal. Looking for my next V, so we're not going here, we're going over here. Here we go, 1 and 2. And then I come up here, 1 and 2. Let's do this last one right here. We'll do it one more time. Not here, here. 1 and 2. Make your arc, puffy flower, and connect. Turning, make a V. 1 and 2, make your arc, come out and out. Go ahead and finish the rest, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can see we really have a lot going on right here. Now I know some of you saw the outside border of my piece here, and I did some work on the outside. I'm going to wait to teach that part because I find that it is easier to follow when we are all colored in on the inside. So we're going to use the outside border for the very, very end, okay? So what I want you to start to think about here is what color is going to be your inside color. So this color right in here. So go ahead and start to think about what color is going to work for you there, and we are going to get started with doing our color. All right, so let's begin. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to go with 2 colors. And if you've ever taken a class with me before on YouTube, you know I do a little bit of color theory before we start. So I'm just going to move this off to the side for a second. So one colored pencil is 3 colors. So you have your light, you have your medium, and you have your dark. Now with a color that has a heavy viscosity like this pencil does, it tends to work out pretty well. However, if you want to get a little bit more depth in your color, you could always grab a complementary color like this purple, and you can shade to get depth right over the top of what you're looking at, and you end up with a really nice violet color. Now if you have chosen a color that's like a chartreuse color, so something that's like a really bright kind of yellowy green, you'll notice that when you do your light, your medium, and your dark, the dark really doesn't have the heavy body that we're looking for. So I always like to keep a forest green around so that when I want to do my shading and get a little bit of heavier shading, I can get a little bit of depth off of it. Now if you're using a light pink, you may want to have a darker pink or a magenta nearby. If you're using an orange, you may want to have a darker orange or a red nearby. If you're using yellow, you may want to have a paler orange nearby. So you get the gist of it, yeah? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this right back in. And here we go. So I've got this really nice kind of pretty magenta. Let's get that really nice and big for you here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to shade in that petal with the magenta. Now, once I've got that petal in, I'm going to go ahead and come back to center, and I'm starting to add a little bit more pressure to that magenta to give it a little bit more depth. And then I'll do a little bit of the same right over here, but notice that I'm leaving the center light, yeah? And then now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that purple, and I'm going to bring that purple into the tip of it and into the tip over here. And that way I'm going to start to get a really nice definition into that petal. You can see it just makes it pop, yeah? So go ahead and go around to all your petals, and we'll start to do that again. So let me just show you one more time in case you didn't catch the whole thing. So I'm just going to go ahead one more time. I'm lightly shading in that petal. And then I'm going to come back in with a little bit of a heavier pressure or heavier tension. And then I'll come right over here and do the same thing. Notice that I'm leaving the center nice and light. And then I will grab my color pencil and add a little bit more of the darkness to it. Now you'll notice that I don't have to press really hard with this color because it's already dark. It doesn't need to be pressed hard with, okay? So go around to the rest of them, and I'll see you in a minute. So you can see I've had a chance to go all the way around, and it really is a fun piece. I'm already really liking it. It's very different from the other one just because it's that beautiful purple. I do love purple so much. So let's continue on here. So we have these beautiful flowers that are going all the way around the star here. And I'm going to choose to be a little bit fallish with my flowers here. So I've got these two colors here. I've got a really nice wheat color and then a little bit of an ochre color. And then I have nearby this kind of brownish raisin color that may help me to get a little bit more depth off of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around to the flowers here, and I'm going to start by putting in a little bit of that really, really nice light wheat color. And once I get in there into those petals, I'm going to also start to use my ochre. So here I've done the lightness in the petals. Now I'm going to go in with the ochre. Now you'll notice that the ochre is just not as dark as I need it to be, and I suspected that that might be the case here. So I'm just building off of this here. And you know how I am about layering colors. I do like to layer my colors so that I get a really nice rich feel. So you can see that I still have the light in the center, but I've got this medium color right here. And now I'm coming in just with this nice soft raisin color. And you can see that this has given me a really nice depth on those leaves. Just gives it a really nice vibrant feeling to it, and I just love the way that that works with the purple. It's very pretty. I'm just getting that in there, and I'm going to go all the way around now and do that in all of these guys all the way around, okay? So I'll see you in a minute. You go ahead with your color too. And remember, you don't have to use my colors. You can choose any color that feels good for you. See you soon. Okay, so you can see I've had a chance to go all the way around, and wow, that is really so fun. So now I'm going to start to build off of this here, and I'm going to go in around the piece itself and start to work around these flux that I have in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this nice turquoise that I have, and then you can see that I've got a darker turquoise that is right next to it here. So I'm going to go in around the turquoise, around the piece, and I'm going to lay down the turquoise first, just like so. And you can see that my pencil is nice and sharp so that I can really get that color where I want it to be. And I want to make sure that I've got a really nice even distribution of color here. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to start to do a little bit of heavier tension, whoops, a little breakage there, around the flux. Now, you know that that turquoise just isn't going to be enough for me. I'm going to have to grab that darker turquoise and get it to be a little bit brighter. So I'm going to come in here and just add some of that darker turquoise right around the flux, just to get it to pop. See how that works? So it's really got a really nice pop to it. I'm going to turn the tile here, and I'm coming in, nice light tension here, getting that all the way around. And then once I have that, going in with that turquoise, the same color that I was working with, but I'm just doing a little bit heavier tension. And then I'll come back in with a little bit more of that darker turquoise and just let it go all the way around the piece. So you can really see that that's going to be very rich and gemstone-like. It's going to be very, very beautiful. So let's go ahead and go all the way around the piece and finish up those petals that you have right there and see how it turns out. Use the colors that are speaking to you. Remember, this is about you and your creative process. So really let the colors that gravitate towards you come into your piece and see what happens. Remember that really great from Picasso. He says, I start with an idea and then something else happens. So just let it unfold like a grand experiment. All right, I'll see you in a minute. So I really love the way this is turning out. It's really got a wonderful feeling to it. So I've got these little spaces inside of the little petals there where our flux is. And so what I've been experimenting with is adding graphite with my colors and really enjoying that. So I have my graphite pencil here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to very lightly shade with the graphite. And then I'll come back in and I'll do a little bit of heavier shading, about medium tension here. And I'm going to leave the top nice and light. And then finally down at the bottom, I'm going to do a nice heavy tension just to get that depth that I'm looking for. So I'll go all the way around the piece now and I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to add that light graphite first. And then I'll do a medium tension. And then I'll do a heavier tension, and that's going to give me that really nice effect. So go all the way around and do whatever color is speaking to you. If you're not interested in doing the graphite, you could do yellow, you could do orange, you could do pink, whatever color is speaking to you. Go ahead and grab it and throw it in there and see what happens. The more you play, the more you learn. All right, so I've had a chance to go all the way around with that graphite, and I think it's really coming along. Now we're going to talk about tipple, these little circles that we have on the outside edge here. And you know, there's a couple of ways that you could go about doing tipple. So in my last one, what I did was I just chose a nice teal color and let it float all the way around the piece, and they were all the same color. However, when I got out into my border, I did something that I call gumballing, where I use a bunch of different colors inside of my tipple. So you may decide that you want a gumball in here, and I think for the sake of this one, I think I'm going to gumball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the two colors, the three colors that I think might work best for this. So I'm going to use a little bit of that purple that I started with. I'm going to use my graphite, and I'm going to use those turquoise pieces. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's grab the turquoise first. So I'm going to grab the turquoise and I'm going to go into this little guy right here. And I'll come in and I'll just add that nice soft layer of color. Really nice and light. Now you can see that I've left a little bit of light in that corner right there. I'm going to leave it there. I'll come back in with a little bit of heavier tension to create a little bit of orbness, as it were, right in here. And then I'm going to come in with my darker color, and I'm really going to get into it. And then that way it starts to give it dimension, doesn't it? Now I'll grab my purple, and I'll start with my purple. So I've got that nice softness. And then I'll go ahead and I'll give that a little bit of that medium tension. Now I know that when I go in there, I'm going to need to have a little bit of depth right in here. And that's just going to give that such a nice little glow. So we're going to go around. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate. So I'm just going to use the two. I'm just going to use the green and the purple. And so I'll start to come in here and add that turquoise again. And then I'll go ahead and I'll add some of that darker turquoise in there. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm just alternating those two and just gumballing it out, because I just think that those two colors might really make it interesting. So go ahead and do your gumballs, or you can do it all one color. See what feels right for you. I'll see you in a minute. All right, how about a look at that? Woo-wee, so pretty. Fun, fun, fun. All right, so now we are going to grow out of this particular part here, and we're going to start to work now into our petals. And we're going to start to work into the leaves themselves here. So you can see I've got these leaves in here, and I'm going to blow this up, make it nice and big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the technique that I call carrying color. And carrying color means that I'm just taking the colors that I started with and I'm going to let them be in the outer sphere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my leaves here, and you can see that I've got that really beautiful wheat color, and I'm coming right into that leaf and putting in that very, very light color first. Then I'll come back in with the ochre color and I'll get nice and deep into it. And you can see I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on that pencil. I'm just getting it to have a nice soft warmth to it. It doesn't have to have a heaviness to it. And then finally, I'll grab that pretty raisin color that I was working with to give me the depth. And there you have that nice shading that's happening in here. I'm only using the lightest tension on this. And it's just going to give it that really nice bit of warmth and bit of autumn, because here we are, we're 3 days into September. Woohoo! Now, it depends on when you're getting this video. You might be getting this video a little bit later than that, and might be a different time of year, but right now when we're filming, it's autumn. So you can see that that leaf really got a lot of definition. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to build it up with that really pretty light wheat color. And by the way, if you're interested in the pencils that I'm working with, I am working with the Staedtler Ergo Soft pencils on this particular part. You know, I do love these colors that they have. Their earth tones are just something else. I really, really love these. These are great. So if you're interested in trying a great color, this is one of my favorites. So I'm coming in here, getting that nice light color in there, and then grabbing that ochre color again, coming about 3/4 of the way up those leaves. Getting that all nice and medium toned in there, still leaving the light up at the top here, and then finally grabbing that raisin color and letting it come in. Now this is a Prismacolor pencil, and this is called Tuscan Red, and you know me, I'm a Prisma girl, so I do love my color pencils, but I do especially love the Prismas. But this is that Tuscan Red that is just so beautiful. It's very raisiny kind of color. So get in there, add some of that depth, pressing a little bit harder at the bottom to get that really nice poppy color. Ooh, so pretty. Gorgeous. Okay, go all the way around, finish up your leaves on each and every one. This should take a little while, but remember, get into the zen of it. Breathe. Relax, enjoy what you're doing. This is not a contest, it's not a race. It's just about being in the present moment and enjoying what you're doing. I'll see you soon. Okay, so you can see that really is starting to pop. It's got so much beautiful energy in it. It's so fun. You know, every time I sit down to do one of these, I'm always blown away by how differently they all come out. It always blows my mind. So what we're going to do is we are going to start to work with our piece inside of the petal here. Let's make that nice and big for you. So I'm going to start with my graphite first, and I'm going to do the graphite inside of the diamond here. So I'll start by just laying down a little bit of light color inside of the diamond. And then I'll come in and I'll add a little bit of medium tension about halfway up the diamond here. And you can see that my pencil is working in a circular-like motion. And then I will come back in and I will do a little bit of a heavier tension as well. And you can really see that that just pops right off. It's really, really cool. So once you have that, you can go around to all of those in your piece and play with that. But for the time being, what I want to do is I want to do the whole section here so you can see what we're up to. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my turquoise and I'm going to bring my turquoise into the petal. And I'm just going to start to lay down that really pretty light turquoise. So I'm just carrying my color all the way throughout the piece so that I don't have to, you know, fuss with a million different colors. It's always fun to play around, but once I've figured out what I'm working with, I really like to stick to what I'm working with. So once I have that, I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of that darker tension right along here. Now I'm still in that original color. And it's just going to have that really nice, soft kind of glow to it. I'll grab that darker turquoise now, and I'll just bring it right along the edge of the diamond here. And you can see that that's just giving it that really nice electricity. Now, one of the things that I said we would talk about is the detailing that we would do inside of this. And you're going to want to make sure that your pencil is nice and sharp. So we're going to do a little wallpaper inside of the petal. And wallpaper just means I'm going to tangle with the color that I just colored with. And so you can see that I'm just adding some lines inside there. And that just gives that a lot of dimension, and it's a lot of fun. So you're going to go all the way around and do all of your hearts or your diamonds and your petals in this same fashion. Okay? I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe. Enjoy what you're doing. So you can see that this is really starting to come together here. So we're going to start to work a little bit more with this piece here. And I'm going to switch now into my purples. And what we're going to start to do is we're going to start to work inside the heart and around the outside of the petal. And I'll show you what I mean here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to do it right down here, as I think it'll illustrate it the best. So here I am, right inside of the heart here. And I'm just going to come in with that really pretty soft magenta color. And I'm going to fill in the heart. And I'll come over here and I'll do the same. Now watch, I'm also going to go around the outside of the petal here. So I'm going to come right into this area right over here. And I'm going to fill in the space around the leaves. You can see that I'm just going in there and filling that in. Now once I've done that, I'm going to get up right on that edge too and finish that off. I'll come in around the heart itself and give that a little bit of brightening as well. So you can see that I'm just going in around that pretty little petal and giving that a little bit of brightening. Giving it a little electricity, as it were. I'll grab my purple and bring that purple, violet-y color right around the edge there. Just giving it that really interesting kind of glow. You can already see that that brought a lot of electricity to this. Now I'm going to come around the edge of the leaves and do the same thing. So all I'm doing is I'm working that pencil in a circular-like motion, getting it to open up a little bit. Getting right in there. Giving that the tension that it needs, right? Let's get that a little bit more smoky, or excuse me, misty. We live out here in California. We are not interested in smoky. We are interested in misty, foggy colors here. And then I'm going to come in with that purple and bring that purple right along the edge here. And you can see once again, trying to get that really nice, soft, misty, soft edge right along the outside of that petal. So you can see I'm just going all the way around and laying that in there. So go ahead and do those all the way around, and I'll see you in a few. Take your time and enjoy. Okay, so you can see I've gone around and it's really coming along quite nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this the same way as I did the other side. So you can see that I have these little petals and the little diamonds just right over here. I'm going to do the same treatment of those in here. So what I'll do is I'll start, and let's start it up at the top here so that you can really see it. I'll come in with my graphite. I'll do a nice light work with the graphite, and then I'll do a little heavier in there just to give it a little bit of pretty richness. Then I'll come in with the turquoise again, and I will start to work with that in a nice soft circular motion. And then finally what I'll do is I'll add a little bit of that heavier tension right in here, heavier pressure, and I'll grab that turquoise, the heavier turquoise, the darker one, and add some of that, and then we'll wallpaper in here as well. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just getting in there and giving it that kind of a motif. So we're going to go all the way around and do those on the outer ones now. Okay, so go ahead and hit up all of these guys on the outside, and I'll see you in a minute. So it's really coming along here. So we're going to start to work with the area that's outside of the petals. And I have my handy dandy brush pen here. You could use your Micron pen or your favorite puddle pen, whatever works best for you. And I'm just going to really zero in on this one right here. So I have my pen here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm going to start to puddle around that petal. And this is where things are really going to start to get interesting, because anytime you add black to a piece, it always adds gravity to it. Now, if you are not a big puddler and it doesn't really feel like something that you want to do, one of the ways that I get around doing puddling, and I'll do a demonstration of it, so if you wanted to alternate, you could alternate. So I'm going to grab a pen here. You could just do some lines around your piece. So you could go around it and do some nice lines around the piece and just fill it in that way, if that speaks to you more than puddling does. You can see that it just adds a little bit more of a defined space, which is really nice. Okay, so you can have the option of puddling, or you could have the option of doing your thatching lines. So you choose what you want to do. You could alternate and do them every other one and see how that works out, or you could do the puddling. So whatever works for you, just go for it. I'll see you in a minute. So you can see I've had a chance to make my way all the way around in here. And one of the things that I really like about this is just the alternating of it. I think is really interesting. What I'm going to do up at the top here is I'm also going to do some thatching in here as well. So I'm going to grab my pen, and you can see where our line is, where the circle is, the second circle. I'm not going to invade that line. I'm going to let that line be its own thing. So let me just blow this up here really quickly. And I'll come in here and I'll just use that line as a guide, but I won't go past it. And I'll come in here as well and just work around the heart at the top. And I'm just going to go into these areas and work around, adding that thatching into here, just like so. So you can see that I'm just adding those lines, and they're nice and close together, or as my friend Stephanie likes to say, they're nice and tight. So I'm just going around and adding those in. You can see that I'm just getting in there and making those work. So I'll go all the way around and finish that off. Go ahead and I'll see you in a minute. All right, so you can see that I've added in that thatching, and boy, does that let that line glow all the way around that central piece, really making it pop. So now we're going to talk about the borders here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pen and I'm going to make some dots to help me know where that I need to go for this particular piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look right here at this top petal right in here, and I'm going to make a dot that is going to be right behind it towards the edge of the piece. So you'll see I'm just going to make a dot right there at the edge. Let's make that nice and big so that you can really see it. So here's the center of it, and I'm just coming right out the back of it. So I'll look at the next petal and I'll come out right out the back of that as well and land a dot right there. I'll go for the next petal right here, land a dot right there. Looking at the next petal, coming out, landing a dot. Next petal, coming out, landing a dot. So you can see why it would be easier to see this when it's colored, because before it was just a lot of Zentangle and it would be very easy to get lost in the piece itself. So now I'm going to scope out just a little bit so that you can really see what I'm up to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play connect the dots, and it's almost going to be like if we did the Zentangle rumpus. So all I'm going to do is, let's see if I can make it just a touch bigger here. And I'm going to start here at the bottom. So you can see here's my two dots right here. All I'm going to do is a very large half moon and connect. I'll turn my tile. Here's my dot. Here's my dot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a rumpus, almost like a big half moon, and connect. Turning my tile, make that large half moon and connect. Turning my tile right in here, make that large half moon, connect. Turning the tile, large half moon, connect. Turn the tile right here, large half moon, connect. Turning the tile, large half moon, connect. Last one right here, large half moon and connect. So now when you look at the piece, let's see if I can get this to zoom back out. I'm having a little trouble there. Okay, so now you can see that it has the star that's framing it, yeah? So with that said, we'll go inside of these rumpus-like things, and we're going to do a little bit of aura-ing inside of those pieces. So you can see, if I come right in there, you can see now I've got this aura inside, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some tipple into that area. And if you need to pause me at any moment just to catch up, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on rolling here. So I'll just go to the next one and show you again. So here we have our little rumpus area here. We're going to come in, we'll make our aura, and I'll add my tipple into the center. Just like so. So go all the way around and do that and see how it goes. Hopefully it'll go well. Relax, breathe, enjoy what you're doing. I'll see you soon. So you can see I've had a chance to go all the way around. We're going to add one last tangle to the piece here. And I'm just going to come into the piece right, I think right in here. So you can all see where I am. Let's blow that bad boy up. There it is. So you can see I'm in the indentation of the piece here, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do a half moon, and then I'm going to aura the half moon, and then hopefully you have enough space between you and the inner piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and add just these teeny tiny little teardrops right on the outside of that half moon, just like so. I'll show you again one more time right here. Here we are, a little half moon, a little aura on the half moon, a nice tight aura, as Stephanie would say. And then we're going to go in and get that going, just like so. One more time, just for good luck, shall we? Come in, little half moon, teardrops around the half moon. Go ahead and finish it up, and I'll see you when you've gone all the way around. Okay, so we've had a chance to go all the way around, and what I'm going to do this time, I think I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm not going to gumball my outside edge. I'm going to leave my my outside edge one color, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the really pretty blue turquoise color, and I'm going to go into these pieces and start to do a little bit of shading halfway on the piece, and I'll come back in a little bit later on with a little bit of white pencil, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going in and grabbing that and making those blue, and let's get these nice and big so that you can see them here. And then I'll grab that really nice dark turquoise and add that shading on the outside. So just like so. Now I know I neglected to talk about a white pencil when we first started out. I'm an awful teacher that way. I forget all the time. So I'm going to grab this white pencil that I have here, and I'm just going to start to add some white into the piece itself, just to get those gemstones to kind of pop a little bit. And you can see that that just gave that a lot of interest. And the other way that you can make that pop quite a bit is you can come in with your micron and you can puddle in those little crevices around the piece here. So you can see I'm just jumping in there and adding a little bit of puddling in around those tipples and making them really, really pretty. So there you have it for that part. And then the last part is going to be our little sun. And for the sun, I'm actually going to use that really nice hot pink, because I know it'll show up on the gray. And so I'm going to grab that hot pink, or that magenta that I was working with. I'll fill in the sun, and then I'll come in at the bottom and add a little bit of heavier tension right in there, just to give that a little bit of pop. And then I'll give it a little bit of purple right at the bottom, just to get it to release a little bit more glow to it. I'll come into our little teardrops and I'll add a little bit of white into our teardrops. Now, if your teardrops are really, really small, and mine are really, really small, I'm going to grab my white pen and I'm going to add a little bit of white pen into this. So you can see that I've got that, and it really makes those little teardrops pop. The other thing that I can do is I can also come right back into my tipple and add a little bit of white right in the white pencil area, and you can see how that really starts to make it glow as well. Okay, so now you know where we're going with the outside. Go ahead and do up your tipple, do up your little suns, and I'll see you in a minute. So there you have it. I've gone all the way around. I did all my little suns, and then I did all the tipples all the way around, and it really came out quite lovely and so different from the first one. You know, you can see that these two are really lovely together, but very, very different in the way that they presented themselves. So it just goes to show you can go back to a piece over and over again and try it different ways, and it will always come out differently and more interesting. So I hope you enjoyed the class today, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. So once again, this is Rami Marks, your Tangled Yogi, signing off here. And if you're interested in other classes, you can always visit the Tangled Yogi website at tangledyogi.com, and you can also visit the Tangled Yogi store for all tiles that you might need for your classes. All right, until we tangle again, this is Rami Marks. See you next time.